Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of the We Know Ball Show. We are back in the home arena tonight for kind of the recording of this intro for the second episode, the fourth episode of this wonderful series. We're going to be kind of going through the championship Sunday that happened this previous kind of week. Kind of get into some of the Super Bowl talk and Super Bowl storylines. We'll get into Debate a Wall, where we'll kind of talk a little bit more about what happened this past weekend with those championship games. We'll talk about Tom Brady and his retirement, and then we'll go through a quick little coaching carousel. And then we got a interview that we'll kind of talk about, and then we'll kind of wrap the show up with an outro and with what I've been watching this week, and then another kind of crazy storyline or crazy story time. Excuse me. So to get started today, we'll kind of deep dive into the first game of Championship Sunday, which is the Eagles and the 49ers. Now, this game was very lopsided in my opinion. Didn't really seem like the Niners really had a chance once they were out a starting quarterback. But there were some glimpses of potential hope, but I mean, when Purdy tears his UCL, it's kind of all downhill from there. And Philly played a great game. They really haven't played anybody. Their strength of schedule really isn't that heavy. So, I mean, we'll see down the stretch here with the Super Bowl, kind of with all the headlines of player health and all that. We'll see kind of who's going to come out on top. But shout out to the Eagles. I think they played a great game overall. Kind of a little controversial catch there on fourth down right away in the beginning of the game. Devontae Smith actually dropped the ball. If you saw it on the instant replay, but nobody challenged it. Nobody really did much with it. Going on to the second game, the Kansas City Chiefs unfortunately lost, or the Kansas City Chiefs unfortunately beat the Cincinnati Bengals. I unfortunately did have both of the losers this week in my Super Bowl, with the Bengals winning it all. A lot of weird, crazy stuff happened this game. I truly thought that the Bengals had a chance, and I thought they were going to win this game, but Lady Fate did not agree with me. So, hats off to the Chiefs, hats off to Mahomes, playing on a bum ankle, no receivers, and still being able to get it done is a pretty big feat. And with all the smack talk that the Bengals have been doing the last kind of week leading up to the game, it was definitely adding fuel to the fire, along with Cincinnati's mayor. I don't know what he was doing. Kelsey was right, as he just needs to stay in your lane and mind his damn business. He was acting like a jabroni for sure. But kind of getting into the Super Bowl here, we have both number one seeds. Just so happens that it's State Farm Stadium, and State Farm's number one spokesman is Mahomes. So, there's a lot of stuff going on there. It's the Kelsey Bowl. Both of them are all pros, top tier, best at their position in the game. So, it's only fitting that those two boys get in there. The line is Philly minus 1.5. The over under is 50. Take the over. And I'd take probably Philly as well. I do think the Eagles are going to win. I mean, it's same record, everything. But yeah, I mean, two black QBs in the Super Bowl. That's cool. First time that's ever been done. Um, what else? Both defenses are going to be deadly. Both have great offensive lines as well. So I think it's going to be a great game. I hope the Eagles win. It'll be nice to see Jalen Hurts. It'll be nice to see Jalen Hurts get a ring, hopefully. Um, but yeah, so let's kind of get into everybody's kind of favorite little segment here. It's debate a wall. So first topic is kind of along the lines of this last weekend is the NFL rigged? Um, there might be times where you look at the NBA and with the mafia and that referee that was gambling and shaving points, like that could probably easily be done. Um, you know, there was a storyline where the white hat, um, he had a relative that was apparently put money on the Chiefs to win. I don't know. He said that he didn't know if that was true or not. The ref did, but we'll kind of have to wait and see. There's kind of a lot of things that's just been weird lately with these playoffs, and more things keep happening to where people are starting to kind of think that it's rigged. And I mean, Macrodosing came out with a podcast that had said that the NFL is scripted, which that was obviously not real. But it just came out with a bunch of funny memes of pictures of different guys who had gotten hurt and just reading their script saying, um, it was like in the 28-3 Super Bowl, it was like Tom Brady's reaction when Matt Ryan walks in to read the script for the 28-3 Super Bowl, and it's just Tom Brady just looking out and grinning. So just a bunch of super funny things, but a lot of things have just been happening that are just a little too coincidental. With the Chiefs getting the extra, fourth and fifth down. A lot of times, unless it's absolutely blatant, there should be some no calls after a weird play, super weird play like that. The Chiefs were, I think it was like 4th and 8 or 3rd and 8. One of the judges ran out on the field to stop the clock, and stop the play. The play went and kept going. He decided to kind of back off, and it ended up being 4th and 4. The Chiefs brought their punt unit out. The refs came in, decided to replay the down. But essentially, it ended up being, they redid it. Mahomes got sacked. It should have been 4th and 14. And somehow, a flag comes out, and Eli Apple, of all people, decides to hold Marquez Valdes-Scantling. And, so they ended up redoing 3rd down. It was the same thing. Patrick Mahomes ends up getting sacked to bring up 4th and 14. However, there was a flag on the play. Eli Apple, of all people, the guy that was talking the most stuff before the game, sending out the hearts and have fun in Cancun to, all the Bills guys. And I get some of the smack talk, with the NFL selling those tickets early for the neutral site game in Atlanta, and even the just kind of everybody kind of writing off the Bengals since the divisional. It was definitely warranted for some shit talk to happen, but when you're kind of going out of your way and adding every single Bills player and replying to all of them, then it gets a little over the top. And same thing with the Burrowhead. I think the Burrowhead was too much, and the Cincinnati Mayor was a little too much. Just had an extra fuel to the fire and giving the Chiefs another chance to win, but at the same time, definitely didn't really feel like the odds were in the Bengals' favor. So I truly do think the refs definitely helped the Chiefs a lot in this game. That Joseph Osai hit definitely kind of put them in good field goal range, but that's definitely not on him. I mean, Burrow did my boy Burrow definitely didn't help either, throwing two kind of costly picks. And the O line, they showed out against the Bengals, or against the Bills, but couldn't really do it against the Chiefs. The Chiefs had some better pass rushing and knew kind of how to beat them a little bit. Wasn't really snowing, so they're not really running a whole lot of stunts defensively on it as a defensive line. The Chiefs definitely were running a lot more twists and stunts on the defensive line to try to get to Burrow easier, and it definitely worked. So, just kind of looking on, I think this is going to be a very, very big Super Bowl, but there's always going to be questions on the legitimacy of some of the things going on in the NFL. I think there's the same thing with any single sport. You can look at any sport, and there might be some questions of legitimacy. You bring up the cheating scandal with the Astros, the steroid era for baseball, a whole lot of things going on. But a lot of people were kind of saying that kind of sequence of events in that Chiefs Bengals game didn't really matter. Well, let me put you in a little kind of time loop story thing, or a story about time loops, I should say. So, any single sequence of events or play can determine a different outcome. So, if you look at, the Avengers Infinity War or Endgame, when they go to get all the stones in the time machine and they have to return. Otherwise, there's going to be a bunch of different realities. That's the same thing. So, any single play in any sport, whether it be the difference between a strike and a ball, or a hit and an out, a catch and a drop, a penalty and a no call, all of those things influence kind of the flow and the momentum of the game. Giving certain teams momentum is a huge factor in the game, and giving and taking away momentum via the referees on some kind of BS calls isn't fair to the team, and kind of sucks any momentum and flow that any team has. So if you look at, the Chiefs may not have scored during that, the 4th and 5th down, but neither, and the Bengals didn't either, so it didn't really matter. That does matter, because you push the Chiefs back, so they're 4th and 4 and punting. Okay, you push them back, you give them that free down, which I think would have happened no matter what, because the ref did, whether they got the first down or they failed to get that first down and got the 4th and 4 like they did. I think no matter what, they probably would have replayed it, because whenever a ref runs onto the field, you have whenever a ref runs out onto the field to stop the flow of the game and stop play, you have to replay that down. It's in the rules. So if you look at situationally how that plays out, whether they get the first down or not, they're going to replay it. But on a 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 6, whatever it was, and Mahomes gets sacked for it to be like a 4th and 14, they're punting way further back, a whole 10 yards back than what they originally would have. Gives the Bengals an extra 10 yards of room. Plus, it gets their defense off the field very quickly and more time for the offense to kind of run their scheme and play how they wanted to play. So, a lot of factors can change. If Mahomes doesn't fumble that ball and come out, what happens there? If the Chiefs, or if the Bengals kind of turns any of those opportunities into scoring opportunities, if Burrow doesn't throw 2 picks, what happens in that game? So there's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts, but whatever outcome happens, you have to kind of go with. So staying on kind of the topic of sports and the NFL, the greatest of all time, Mr. Tom Brady, has announced his retirement. Congratulations to him. It's his 2nd time retiring. Probably should have retired the first time. Probably actually should have retired after the first Super Bowl in Tampa. I really hope he does retire as a Patriot. There's been some news going around that Mr. Kraft and the entire Patriots organization is doing everything that they can to make sure that he retires a Patriot. He truly embodies the Patriot way. I didn't really understand it until I actually went to Foxborough and got to go into, the Patriots Museum and Hall of Fame, got to see all the Super Bowls, got to see the dent from Gronk. That was super cool. And, just kind of the embodiment of the Patriot way, you embrace winning as well as you embrace defeat, and you learn from defeat and you move on. But you demand winning and you demand excellence, and that's kind of Tom Brady, and he really brought Titletown to Boston, truly, and kind of that whole New England area. The Celtics have been good here and there, but I think you look at the Bruins, you look at the Red Sox, you look at the Patriots, and you look at the Celtics, and since 2000, they've kind of been the city that's won the most championships. Ever since Tom's been there, he himself. There's some stats out there that I had heard. Whenever he took a snap in either the playoffs or the regular season, he had an opportunity to win the Super Bowl. It was, crazy stat. He's first in everything. If you break up his 20s, 30s, and 40s into different careers, 3 different careers, those are 3 different Hall of Fame careers. Another super outrageous stat. And it'll probably never be done again. Would hope it happens with some of these young guys, but you just have to find a way to win, and Brady knew it best. So congratulations on your retirement, Tom. Best of luck to you. You made me smile sometimes. You made me cry a bunch because you beat the Colts a lot, and Peyton Manning. You made some funny moments, like trying to catch footballs and thinking you're fast and athletic, and you're really not. You went from kind of the check down master to proving that you can still sling it. You've damaged so many Microsoft Surface tablets, it's insane. So, best of luck in Brady brand and the TB12 method and broadcasting. Hope to see you in some Super Bowls broadcasting in the future. I think it'd be great. You obviously have plenty of experience playing the game, so you should be the one commenting on it. Staying in the NFL as well, some more coaching hires. Mr. Sean Payton has been traded from the New Orleans Saints to the Denver Broncos. The Broncos traded a second-round pick and then their first-round pick of this year, which they got from the Bradley Chubb trade, for the Dolphins. So, they got their coach that knows how to develop older quarterbacks that are kind of shorter, have weaker arm strength, trying to kind of build that back up. And, I think it's a great opportunity for Broncos country to ride again. Moving on to another kind of coaching hire is DeMeco Ryan. He went to Houston, his old former team. So that will be interesting. He's a very smart guy. He was the coordinator of the number 1 defense in the NFL. Had some superb guys on that defense as well to help him. May not necessarily have that in Houston, but Houston's defensive-minded young franchise. You look at some of their greats. J.J. Watt, Brian Cushing, just to kind of name a couple off the top of my head. Tyrann Mathieu was there for a long time. So, yeah, and then, Frank Reich, former Colts head coach, is going to Carolina, where my boy Matt Rule used to coach. So, we'll see there. Right now, their starting quarterback is Matt Corral. The NFC South has a lot of very weak starting quarterbacks. Right now the Saints are looking at Jameis Winston. The Bucks are looking at Kyle Trask, who I think is solid. He's been learning under Tom for 2 years. He might have a good kind of background on how to be a solid quarterback for a little bit. Maybe they'll go a different way, but we'll see. In Carolina, they have Matt Corral, a little Ole Miss guy. I liked him at Ole Miss. I think he was fun to watch, but I could see Carolina trying to get Sam Darnold back and kind of building that along with Reich, or maybe they'll go for Carson Wentz. So we'll see there. And then who is the Panthers, the Saints, the Bucks? Who's that last NFC South team? The Falcons. They have Desmond Ridder, who did not do very good this year. He's a rookie thrown into the kind of ringer right in the middle towards the end of the season when the kind of season was over. So, we'll see kind of what the difference is and then turn around for what happens there. With Pro Bowl stuff going on, we've got Derek Carr kind of balled out in the throwing challenge, and he's ready to kind of leave Oakland, or Vegas, which, I mean, if I were him, I'd want to leave too. They don't want you anymore. You don't really want to be there anymore. What's the point in staying? And when Aaron Rodgers, there was some speculation earlier that maybe he'd be a Colt. Well, they haven't even picked their coach yet, and they're going for a rare third round of coaching interviews. I don't know why Jim Irsay's Frank Ballard. Bunch of goobers. Got a bunch of clowns running a front office of an NFL football team. Give me a chance. I might be able to run it better. I'll pick a coach. I'll get us going. Hope they get Bieniemy, and get a solid 1 or 2 choice for a QB in the draft. Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson's been kind of talked about a lot. Whole bunch of opportunities. Today I also saw that Lamar Jackson will most likely be franchise tagged, which is what I said a long time ago. Everyone was thinking he was going somewhere else. He'll probably end up taking the franchise tag, but then there will be a huge bidding war next offseason for whatever happens. So, just some things to think about down the road. If you didn't like any of these takes, you can go ahead and debate a wall. Okay, on to the interview portion of our next. Okay, on to the next portion of our show is the interview segment. This interview is one of my very good friends since we were both about 3 years old. Been playing baseball and football and basketball together. He was an absolute stud, both on the field, the court, and the diamond. Man who was just as stylish both on the court as he was outside of it. And in return, he took his love of fashion to new heights and created his own clothing brand and kind of social media hotspot. His company URUP2U is awesome. So give it a look and enjoy this interview with Carson. Okay, on today's show, we have one of my very good friends. We've been friends for a very long time, Mr. Carson Coulter, owner, CEO of URUP2U. I don't really know what you kind of have your own official title, but, it's great to have you on the show. How you been, Carson?
Good. Awesome to be here, man. Appreciate you having me on. It's cool to catch up after all these years, too, being in a different spot, so this is awesome.
Absolutely. So, kind of get things started here. one of our kind of staples on the show, kind of have the same questions for everybody. But the first one is this magic moment. And, previously we've had people talk about, the Minneapolis Miracle, the Stephon Diggs catch, any kind of Brett Favre play, some Cowboys plays, some basketball. So, kind of what's your kind of magic moment in sports?
Magic moment in sports. I would probably say it's kind of, as far as like the whole entire moment, would probably be the one that I just really like was obviously Kobe's last game when he just went crazy and dropped 63. But then the entirety of the season as well is like when the Warriors, when they went 73-9, they broke that record. That was kind of when I was jumping on the Steph Curry bandwagon and all that stuff. And I just thought it was absolutely, I don't think people really understand how crazy that is in an 82 game season that they won 73 times, especially in like professional and sports in general. Like winning at that high of a level is already very, very tough. But then to go 73-9, like I think they won like, I don't know the exact stats, but they won like almost 30 games straight. I think 20, 25, I don't know. But yeah, just I guess that was kind of, as far as a moment, that was basically a whole season. But yeah, that when you asked that question, that's kind of what came to mind right away. Was just, I don't think people fully understand how crazy that is that they did that. So I'll probably go with that.
Yeah, that's a great one. Nobody has really kind of talked about, having a successful season like that. You look at teams as a whole, and I think that 73-9 Warriors team was one of the best. You had Iggy, Draymond, Steph, Clay. I mean, having that team and just running the table was insane.
Yeah, it was fun to watch, man. They still are fun to watch. I mean, they obviously won last year, but yeah, it's just people already forget about that, and it's like, man, it's probably one of the best basketball teams ever, at least top 5, top 3.
Yeah, so kind of quick question bouncing off of that. So, a lot of these teams that see success kind of year in and year out, like the Warriors or, the Bulls in the 90s or even the Lakers when we were growing up, and you see people start loving teams, but with more success, people kind of start to hate on those teams. Do you kind of have a thought as to why?
Yeah, there's actually, one of my friends, they always said they hate great. He's like a Boston fan, Tom Brady fan. People obviously historically either you love or hate Tom Brady. And I think that's just, at the end of the day, it's a weird situation when people start hating on you for winning so much. Like they get tired of you winning. So yeah, I'm never one of those people. Like I respect greatness all across the board. There's players I don't like maybe because of their personalities, but if they are great, like and they just win and can't be beat, you can't hate on them because, again, I think people don't really truly understand how much work goes into being that good at that high of a level consistently year in and year out. So yeah, I think it's just maybe they want something new. They don't want to see the same guy at the holding up the trophy every year. But yeah, it's just common. I think the average person just hates greatness rather than just respecting it. But it is what it is. They're going to keep winning. So
absolutely, yeah. That's kind of what I think is you always kind of want to see somebody new up on that pedestal or that mantle, and it gets old seeing kind of the Tom Brady's or LeBron, Curry, Kobe. But when everything's all said and done and you kind of look back on those individuals' careers, they're always in the conversation of the GOAT. So,
yeah, for sure.
I
don't think people understand too that they're witnessing history like every season, every year. And then, like you said, when people look back, they're like, dang, he really did win how many ever championships, and that was crazy that he did that. But in the moment, everyone's so sick of it. But as your decades go on, there's going to be a new person that just dominates. So,
absolutely. So, kind of sticking with the kind of player theme, who was kind of a player that you really idolized, or was kind of your favorite when you were growing up?
My first favorite player ever, as far as basketball, is Carmelo Anthony. He was my first ever NBA player that I saw And I was like, yep, he's the man. It was just the swag he had, the cornrows, the headband, just everything about it. He was just so smooth. And he's just a bucket getter. Like, he just is a straight scorer. And just, I was like super young when he was at Syracuse, but I went back and watched all that there when he won the national championship, and nobody expected them to do that. So, just an awesome, awesome guy. I followed him for a while. He was my favorite player. And then, when he was on the Nuggets, and Allen Iverson was there, J.R. Smith was there, Kenyon Martin was there. It was like crazy squad, actually. But, and yeah, that was one of the first NBA games I went to, too, was my dad took us to the Timberwolves vs. Nuggets game, saw him in person, and I was just like, yeah, he's the man. So, yeah, Carmelo Anthony, for sure. Too bad he can still be in the league right now. But.
Yeah, he's one of those dudes that I really enjoyed watching too. I think my favorite kind of Melo era was his time in the Knicks. Him, those nights at the Garden when it's Melo and Kobe. Those 2 crazy weeks of Linsanity as well. That those Knicks moments were awesome.
Yeah, that's where he's from too. So to go back to the Garden, and then I think I just recently listened to a podcast that he was on. I think it was the All the Smoke podcast, and he was on there talking about when he got traded back to the Knicks, and he was nervous as all get out, like going back because he knew he had to go home, and the Garden's not a place where you can just show up and just be an average player. Like, you got to perform every night. So yeah, definitely Melo though.
Yeah, Melo was awesome. I was always a fan of the Kobe shoes, but those Melo Jordans are always pretty slick as well.
Yeah. Dude, they're a little. One of them is pretty solid. I still like the Kobe's more, but you always did like the Kobe's. You always had those. I remember, was it the Kobe 5? You had the purple and gold pair.
Yeah. The Kobe 5 aways. I just looked at them on GOAT today, and they were like $2,000 in my size right now. So.
After he passed, man, I think if you had a beat up pair of Kobe's that you wore 100 times, you could sell them for a couple $100. Like, just all the Kobe's just skyrocketed, and as they should. But I need to get a pair of Kobe's to get into hooping.
Yeah, me too. I'm shopping for Kobe's as well. So. Kind of transitioning into kind of sports today, we see a lot of guys throughout all sports that, are kind of really balling out. Who do you think are some dogs in sports today?
Just that are just crushing it?
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep going back to basketball.
That's fine.
And, the All-Star, I was actually talking to one of my guys this morning about just the All-Star snubs and people that, are just crushing it. But, like, De'Aaron Fox is one of them. He got snubbed, absolutely snubbed from the All-Star game. He's averaging, like, 20, 25, 27 points a game or something crazy. And they're winning. Like, the Kings are the second or third in the West. And I think his teammate Sabonis is an All-Star. I think it's crazy that De'Aaron Fox is not an All-Star. So he's just crushing it. I think he's helping them win games, obviously. Kings as well. Keegan Murray, the Rookie of the Year, I think. He's going to be a little sneaker. He's been quiet, but after All-Star break, he's going to be Rookie of the Year. Other guys that are killing it, Trae Young, again. I don't watch a lot of sports shows, but I feel like in social media now, a lot of people are talking about him. He's averaging, again, almost just under 30. It's crazy that these people are just doing these numbers. Anthony Edwards killing it. Towns is out. So, NBA is crazy right now. There's so much talent, so many people. But as far as just kind of the dogs and the snubs. De'Aaron Fox, man, I can't believe he's not an All-Star. No disrespect to Tyrese Halliburton, but he's having a good season. But I think De'Aaron Fox should be in his spot.
Yeah, I would agree. I saw a bunch of the Tyrese Halliburton stuff on Twitter, him changing his profile pic and stuff, and
yeah, interesting dude. But every All-Star obviously is deserving, but I think De'Aaron Fox got rocked, got snubbed.
Have you hopped on any kind of the young gun bandwagons? I mean, I know you're in Phoenix, so you might be kind of a little Suns bandwagon or Suns fan, but like John Morant, Luca, have you hopped on any of those kind of bandwagons at all?
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't really have a favorite like set team. I love watching players, and I just like respect how good they are. But yeah, John Morant probably reminds me of like Derrick Rose, just can bounce, super athletic. Luca's just insane. He makes everybody slow down, and he plays at his own pace. And just it looks out there, it looks like he's just super slow and just like how's the guy getting 30 every night? But yeah, I think especially the super young guys. I think Paolo is going to be really good, the rookie from Magic. Yeah, just every year the league gets better and better. It's crazy how talented these like every year is just like insane talent, and it's just going to get harder and harder to get to the league and harder to stay in it too. Yeah, I mean, do you got any young guys that you really like, or you on the Luka bandwagon?
Yeah, I mean, I was on the John Morant bandwagon, still kind of am, uh,
I like how
any
much
kind of,
he's
yeah,
that whole Grizzlies squad is just they're just young and just chomping at you. It's wild.
yeah. I was a huge Duke basketball fan, Coach K. One of my best friends from high school went to Duke as well. So, yeah, was just kind of huge, kind of follow the Duke guys a little bit. Brandon Ingram used to be a huge Jabari Parker fan, but he really kind of fell off. So, I don't think he's in the league anymore. The last time I was keeping tabs on him, he was in Chicago.
So I thought he had a stint with the Bucks. The guy. Yeah, that's too bad. He like blew his ACL out, right?
Mm-hmm. Looks like he was on the Celtics last year, but I don't know what team he's on now.
That's too bad. Yeah, Duke. I mean, college hoops is much harder to keep up with because there's so much going on. Like, there's so many conferences, obviously, and things like that. But last said Duke wasn't doing too hot, are they?
No. They are. I think they're like 9th or 10th in the ACC, which is not good.
They're gonna make the tournament this year.
I think they will just because it's Duke. It'd be kind of like not having Alabama football being the yeah. Okay, I don't think this is right because this is Duke is 13-4, and I don't think that's right. But yeah, they lost to Kansas. They lost to Purdue. They got smoked by Purdue. Lost to Wake Forest, NC State. I mean, yeah, they could be. I don't know. They're Virginia Tech. They lost.
It says what I just pulled up says they're 16-6, but in the conference they're 7-4. Oh wait, is that basketball? Yeah.
Clemson. So yeah, I mean Duke. Yeah, Clemson's good. Purdue is surprisingly really good too.
I need to get back into college hoops. March Madness is coming up.
Yeah, I need to as well. We kind of do a family bracket every year, so gotta win that. But
this year, $1 million.
We're gonna try. I claimed a no ball, so I need a no ball.
Oh yeah, the We Know Ball show. You got a co-host on here? Or is it just you running this thing?
It's just me. I was doing some stuff originally, and it was just going to be baseball with one of my old roommates who is a Red Sox fan. So it'd be like a Yankees-Red Sox rivalry podcast. But I couldn't get a set schedule with him, and by the time I was done editing, and I'm not even really fully done editing the first episode, a whole bunch of news. It was right during like free agency for baseball. so a whole bunch of news came out, and all the stuff that we had was breaking news was all old, so I couldn't post it.
Yeah, content is tough, man. Really, you gotta stay on top of it. Speed, you gotta have speed. It's just like, oh man, it's hard. And like you said, a schedule, have it, especially if you're working with somebody else. It's like it's tough to get. I mean, this is a week. I mean, we tried like we rescheduled this like 4 times because of me. But I mean, I can't imagine trying to get a guest and have another co-host that you gotta line schedule. So
yeah, I mean, it's you're in kind of a similar boat as me, and so just if there's opportunities that are kind of come up that you can't really pass up, you have to take it. So it's totally understandable on both ends. So
yeah.
kind of getting back on track here. So you were a big baller. You're really good at baseball, basketball, football, kind of any ball that you picked up, you're pretty solid at. Kind of helped that you had an older brother that was solid, and you probably had the best backyard in Sioux Falls. So, one of these things is called I Am Him. It's a moment in time where you were like, I'm him. So kind of you can take the floor and.
Oh man, I am him moment. I haven't played sports competitively probably since high school. I didn't play any college hoops or anything like that. So probably I'm just gonna have to take you back to the state tournament. Kind of a open the yearbook moment, but yeah, probably the state tournament basketball my junior year. We obviously were not supposed to win it that year or anything like that. Ended up getting to the championship game. I think late in the game I hit like a big corner three that kind of just secured the lead. I remember I pounded my chest. It was just super heat of the moment. I watched it back. I was like, wow, super cringy. But again, kind of late in the game, hit a big three, and then in the fourth quarter, they were fouling, obviously, trying to get the ball back, and then I hit some big free throws to kind of ice it. And then, yeah, that was just – clock ran out. I mean, we were going crazy, and then, yeah, just walking after, getting the medal and all that stuff and being called to all-tournament team, I was just like, at that moment, I'm like, this is the pinnacle. Because when you're that age, when you're in high school, that's everything. That's the entire world. So winning the state championship in your hometown, against your rival school, it was like, that was my I am him moment. That felt really cool. But yeah, looking back at it now, it's funny to laugh about. But yeah, in that moment, I was like, I'm the best in the world, kind of thing, just in South Dakota. But yeah, that's the moment for me. Probably, I wish I could say something cool about winning like a national championship in college or something. But I mean, yeah. That was probably it when I was like, this is it. And at that time, I really did think that was like the coolest thing ever. So,
yeah, absolutely. I've gotten pretty close to winning, state championship, but never got to win one. We made it to the semifinals for football my junior year, and then quarterfinals my senior year. Kind of losing my junior and senior year of high school football. We only lost to 2 teams, Madison and Del Rapids. So. Yeah, we were.
I remember, was it? I think Madison had those 2 twins that played D1 right there. I just remember one of my roommates in college. He's from there, so he would always talk about their dynasty and stuff.
Yeah, the Yankee twins. Giles, who was on the last episode, was their quarterback, and then Marcus Vandenbosch, a whole bunch of guys that I played with at Dakota State. Yeah, so I just kind of decided if you couldn't beat them, join them. So played with all of them. But my senior year, they ended up being the number 1 play on SportsCenter against us.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, one of the kids, mossed our DB, one of the Yankee twins.
In the dome or what?
No, it was on our field at USF.
That's crazy. I'm going to have to go back and do that. That's cool.
Yeah, I'll try to find the clip and send it to you. Yeah, so we've been kind of talking about, the bright light players, big time moments, I am him moments. Let's kind of look at the other side of the coin here. And there's some like unsung heroes of sports. Anything from like athletic trainers or, strength and conditioning coaches, as well as, kind of offensive line for football. They may not get a lot of recognition, or, kind of your role players in basketball. You got LeBron James, about to get the scoring record, but nobody really talks about Joe Schmo, who's like the ninth guy on the bench for the Lakers that doesn't see a lot of time, but is putting in the time in the gym. So who
Yeah,
do you think is kind of an unsung hero?
you said athletic trainers. It just made me think of like managers, like the team managers of the team. I can speak from experience too. When I got to college, when I decided not to go play college hoops. I don't want to say I was depressed, but I was like really regretting the decision that I didn't at least try to go play college hoops. So I just became a manager of the men's team, and you really got to love the game to be a manager. You're not getting paid. You're at every practice. You're watching film. You're wiping sweat. You're getting waters. Like I've never had been on that side of things. And even in high school, you have managers that come to every practice. They start and stop the clock. They keep stats. They do all the things that you just don't even think about or don't even care to see, or care to like pay attention to. So I would just say the managers, and my experience in basketball, I'm sure it's the same for football, and just like a lot of the times they don't get paid. They're there because they want to be there. They want to help out. So they just do it to kind of be like right in the mix of things and for the love of the game. And they definitely don't get enough love. So I would say like the managers and yeah, like you said, the behind the scenes people, they're doing a lot of stuff that makes the engine go. So and all makes the players' lives easier. Things that the player just shows up on the court and hoops, and that's like your goal as a manager is just to make them focus on the main thing. Whereas 2 hours before they even showed up for practice, you're making sure their shoes are there, their jerseys clean, like the floor is white, the mute, like all the stuff, man. It's a lot of work, and yeah. So shout out to all the managers out there. I did it for the season, and it was a cool experience, really cool. But that definitely makes you appreciate, like you said, the unsung heroes.
Yeah, absolutely. I did that kind of something similar my final year at Dakota State. I was a GA, or like a student assistant on the football team, because I couldn't play anymore. So, but I was, doing laundry, getting the speaker out, making sure the field is ready, painted, all that stuff. Getting guys to volunteer for doing a bunch of stuff. I'll make sure all the tackling dummies are out, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's definitely, stuff that doesn't really get talked about a lot, but yeah, they're definitely there, and need to be recognized for sure.
And as a manager, the players who you remember the players who appreciate you, and you remember the players who don't. And I will say it's just like it attests to a lot of people down the line. If you're trying to make it and go somewhere, just be nice to everybody, and just be more aware of what they're doing for you, for sure. Because even when I became a manager in high school, I looked back and I was like, man, I took those people for granted. Always being there every practice because they wanted to after school. They could go home and play on their phone, but they just wanted to show up to high school boys basketball practice and make sure our waters are filled and wipe the floor, everything. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely something where you have to have the love of the game in order to be able to do it. Like your love of the game has to be more than your need for doing something else. So absolutely, I think that's a great choice. So you and I both being from South Dakota, we have in that state Mount Rushmore. So this Mount Rushmore is your theme, whatever you want your theme to be. It can be your Mount Rushmore basketball players. I know you're a point guard, Mount Rushmore point guards. We've had staples of Wisconsin. We've had defensive backs, quarterback, wide receiver duos, kind of a whole list of things for a Mount Rushmore.
Staples of Wisconsin. That was creative. Whoever do like basketball players or point guard. I just at the top of my head, I know we forget someone. Disrespect. Don't snap.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Maybe let's go with something other than sports. Let's go like food or something.
How we can do food. We can do you want to do basketball shoes? Do you have like
Okay.
yeah?
Basketball shoes. Okay. So this is my first one. So basketball shoes probably I'm gonna go. First one will probably be. Man, this is tough. There's so many good ones. Probably the Kobe 5. Just as far as one of my favorite hoop shoes, the Kobe 5. I think it's the 24, maybe 2015 Nike Hyperdunk.
I think I know which one it is. Is it?
Same. No, not 2015. Maybe 2014.
Is it the one with the swoosh on the toe?
We're getting close. Could be 2013. Maybe even 2012. Okay, yeah, I think it's 2012. 2013 is close. Yeah. The 2012 Hyperdunks.
Those are sick. I remember those too.
The reason I like those a lot is because they were on Nike ID and they were like a custom pair where you could like do a bunch of stuff. So that was my first custom pair of shoes. So we got the Kobe 5, the 2012 Hyperdunks. I said 2016 at first. I think, man, this is so hard. There's so many out there. I think the KD4 with the strap across, I think I had those in high school too. I really like those. They're comfortable and just a good hoop shoe. And then I would probably just say the Jordan 11 then. Just, again, I wore those my senior year. And so, yeah. So we got the Jordan 11, the Kobe 5, 2012 Hyperdunk, and then what was the other one I said?
The KD4.
The KD4, yeah, the straps. Yeah, we'll go with those. I'm going to be thinking about this question for a while now, probably the rest of the day.
Yeah.
That's I'll stand by those 4.
Awesome. Yeah. I think those are all very solid. I think those are good shoes that, you can hoop in, but at the same time, like if you were to go out, maybe now the 2012 Hyperdunks, but like if you were to go out like on the town, a night on the town, and you wanted to throw like the Kobe 5s or any of those shoes on, you can tie a nice outfit together and it'll look super dope.
But you see 11s every day, for sure.
Yeah.
No, the 11, yeah. I camped out for them overnight. So, and I just wore those.
Yeah, I got a pair of the Concord 11s as well. They're a nice shoe. I love them. Okay, so kind of sticking on the fashion train, this is kind of now your chance to talk about, the inception of URUP2U, kind of bring in the past, the present, and kind of what you're looking forward to as far as future. You don't have to dive too much into kind of spoiling anything if you don't want to, but this is kind of your platform to kind of tell the story of URUP2U. So had to rep it today as well. So
sweet. So URUP2U obviously is the brand that I have and I've started. So it launched about a year ago. February? Yeah, just over a year ago. I think January 3rd was the first launch. In fact, back a year ago, I didn't really know what it was going to be or, what it was going to turn out to. I just knew that I wanted to share this message of, releasing others from blame, kind of outworking self-doubt, and just kind of my life's message in a sense. I never encapsulated it into like one quote before. But yeah, in the past, I just remember seeing the quote, "You are up to you." And it really just kind of hit me, just was like, dang. Because in the past, I really was a victim of, or not a victim. I was guilty of, blaming other people for my situation. So, like in sports, if I didn't get the starting job, or if I wasn't getting the playing time, or just whatever it was, or if we lost the game, it was never my fault. It was because I would, the coach's kid or the other player took too many shots, or whatever it was. It was always pointing the finger, and then that just translated through a lot of things in my life, as far as personal. It was never ever my fault, and I never took accountability for it. And then finally, I read that quote, and it all just kind of hit me, and I was like, my life is in my hands. Whatever I want to do, I gotta work for it. I can't blame other people and make it their fault. So fast forward to that, it was just kind of stuck with me. I ended up getting a tattoo about it because it just like really, really stuck with me as my life. I was like, this is this. It just makes all the sense. And then I moved to Arizona. I'm just skipping a lot of steps, but moved to Arizona. And like you said, I've always kind of been into fashion, and I was like, I want to start a clothing line. And at the time, I was like, this is the platform I want to use to spread this message. Again, I had no idea what I was doing with clothing. I had no idea of direction I wanted to go. I literally just wanted to put the message on clothes and spread it that way. So yeah, I just started creating stuff, trying to make logos, put it on clothes. It worked out really well organically, had a lot of support. So I just doubled down, kept doing some releases. But fast forward to the present. So now that I've, tried a lot of stuff and done a couple different things, it just keeps coming back to hoops. And I really want to take the message and the clothing and put it all into, a basketball brand and really impact people that way, because from my, direct experience, I can help a lot more people and impact them that way, spreading the message through there. So it's going to be more of a hoop focused brand. Obviously it's a broad message, it can relate to anyone, but I really want to impact people in the hoop world. So I'm going to be making a lot of, basketball shorts, just hoop apparel, coming forward. And that's what I'm working on right now, getting a bunch of samples, trying to create a really good basketball apparel. And just, there's a lot of stuff that's kind of missing from that current niche and market. So I want to fill in. And then, future, my goals, again, I just want to impact the youth is kind of the focus and share this message. I wish somebody would have, really been able to tell me this message early on. Like, listen, if you want to go pro, if you want to go to college, or just whatever you want to do in life, like, you have to do the work. You can't just hope somebody's going to knock on your door and say, hey, here's a scholarship, here's whatever, you get all the things you want. You have to put in the work and release others from blame. So, future, just want to spread that message, have my own hoop camps, basketball camps with youth, be able to speak at them, bring in some pros and trainers, and obviously have a skill development camp, but then also share them like the mental side of things and just a real life message. I want to build a basketball court. I think building a court back home in South Dakota would be really, really cool. I just want to impact as many people with the message as possible, and I think the best way I can do that is through basketball, at least the fastest way, and then we can grow into other things in the future. That's kind of long story longer. That's the story, and probably wasn't the best summary, but there it is.
Yeah, no, it was great. Great, absolutely great story. Amazing. I'll kind of share a little story, my kind of URUP2U story of kind of how I found it. Knowing you, following you, seeing it all, and I didn't really get to see the product like on hand until I was in the airport going to Arizona, and I saw Sam Prisby, and he was wearing the crew neck.
Oh,
and he had told me that, he bought it. He was like, I don't know if I like it or not. And then he washed it and put it back on, and he said that it is the softest, best thing he's ever worn. And I got I don't have the full jumper on, but I've got the hoodie on, and I would agree, this is so soft. It's one of my favorite hoodies. So
yeah, Sam Frisbee too. He's one of the OGs with us, Harvey Dunn, all that good stuff. Man, I'm trying to focus on, quality, obviously. That's the biggest thing. And yeah, I really, really like how those came out. They're super, super soft. And yeah, just glad you like it. Glad you rock it. And I appreciate the support, seriously.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think has been your favorite product to either make or market, whatever?
Yeah. I really liked making. I really liked making the sweatsuits. Honestly, that was really fun for me. Obviously the sweatsuits kind of got into like a massive trend this last year. I think every brand. I mean, they've been a thing for a while, but I of course wanted to make my own. And then the buttons on the sweatsuit too. Like, there's not a lot of people have snap pockets on the hoodie and on the sweat, so I think that was just a cool little touch and detail. They were I don't know if I can swear on this, but it was a process and a half to get those made. Sample after sample after sample, getting it right. So yeah, those were the most fun to make and most fulfilling. Probably when they got here and they were right, I was like, "This is awesome." So
Yeah, and you can say whatever you want, other than things that you probably shouldn't say. Yeah, you can swear if you want.
I think I've been PG this whole time. I don't think I've let anything out. So
It's okay. Sometimes I get animated about certain things like the NFL and Joe Burrow.
yeah,
I'm a huge Joe Burrow fan, so
yeah, that's tragic, man. I wanted them to win. I really did. I wanted to see the Bengals, and I'm in Arizona. Super Bowl's coming here. Literally this morning, North Scottsdale Road right here was shut down for a parade. All the Super Bowl stuff's out. It's gonna be nuts. But yeah, I wanted Joe Burrow in the city for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you have any content ideas that you're kind of thinking of for the Super Bowl?
Yeah, so I mean, it's hard to relate hoops to the Super Bowl and stuff like that. So I'm not quite sure. I think early on in the URUP2U stuff, when I was trying to do content, I did a couple interviews at like ASU asking people if they could guess the logo and stuff like that. I thought about doing that again, just because I think I could get some funny replies with all the people out here. But I think I might just make some content before just in hoops and post it before, and I might just try to enjoy everything that's going on. I think it's a once in a lifetime to live where the Super Bowl is.
Absolutely.
So I think I'm just gonna maybe take a break from the content and just enjoy what I'm doing, put the phone down, and just kind of be present and everything, and enjoy the week. And the waste management's out here, the golf tournament. So
oh yeah.
There's a lot going on, so might just take a breather, have a little fun this week, and then get right back to the grindstone.
For sure. So, kind of one quick little question, kind of off the topic, but still kind of on the topic of football. Your dad is the Minnesota Vikings super fan, the Purple Pimp.
OG Purple Pimp.
Tell me about the Purple Pimp.
I don't even know if I could correctly tell you about the Purple Pimp. He'd have to tell you himself. I'm sure he'd do a lot better. But yeah, my dad, he is literally, his blood would probably bleed purple. He's just a die-hard Minnesota Vikings fans. Ever since I was little, it would every Sunday, just screaming at the TV, being super excited, run up and down. I mean, every TV had the game on, even like the radio in the kitchen was playing the game. Couldn't escape it. But yeah, he's been a season ticket holder for like 20, 25 seasons. He's been there for all the big moments. But yeah, every home game, he wears a purple pimp suit, like all purple. I'm trying to paint the picture for the people that are just listening.
Yeah.
But yeah, full on pimp suit every game. Him and his friends started a while ago. They'd go to one away game every year, and they'd all dress up as purple pimps. And yeah, he's just been doing it. It's been a tradition. We were in London for that Saints game, and he wore it, and people were just going crazy. Yeah, he's the OG Purple Pimp. I think there's guys on TV that also wear the Purple Pimp suits, but they just have a little different setup. But yeah, he's. It's tough to even summarize that, man. You got to know to really understand.
Yeah.
He's one of
Ted.
them.
Yeah, for sure. Ted is a very special character.
100%. Yeah,
is in all of our
we
hearts.
just got him on social media. I think my brother's running his account. So the OG Purple Pimp on Instagram, go see what's up. We're trying to get him. Yeah, just in. He doesn't know what he's doing, what to do with his phone. So we're just like, we need the Vikings fans and everybody to see what you got going on. So yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Carson, that's all I have for you on my end. Is there anything you kind of want to talk about or ask me? Floor's
Yeah,
yours.
no, this is. I just. I appreciate you having me on the show. This is cool. It's gonna be really cool to see this thing grow. Who else you have on? Yeah, man, I'm excited to see where you take this. This is cool. I'm very, very happy that I could be, third episode? One of the first?
Fourth.
Fourth episode.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we'll have to do a rendezvous in a couple years, do another
absolutely.
episode. Maybe we can be in person at your studio, or I guess I don't. What are your plans for this? Where do you want to take it?
Yeah. Thanks for asking. I would like to kind of see it, grow into, more than just kind of this show. I've got a lot of ideas that I've kind of thought of, maybe some video game streaming, getting some of the viewers involved in some things like that. I want to do MLB The Show, Madden, and then a lot of like single player games like Red Dead Redemption is like my favorite game of all time.
Yeah,
So
Jacob. But yeah, no.
yeah, it's one of my favorite games ever. So doing some of that as well as some live content as well. Having season tickets to Nebraska games. There's some big games coming up. Nebraska, Colorado, Nebraska, Michigan. Those are some games I'd love to be at and kind of do some live content there. And yeah, it'll be fun.
It'll be really cool. I think that could be really, if you kind of do the interviews. I know the interview style is crushing on like short form, like TikTok and stuff. Asking quick questions, public interviews, things like that. I think that could blow you up for sure. And I think you ask great questions. I think this is a really cool concept, cool show. I like your themes throughout every episode. So keep doing it, man. Keep creating content. It's really cool to see.
Yeah. Kind of my main theme of the show is I don't know if you can see it in the back. It's we tell the stories behind the stats. It's kind of this show is supposed to be kind of an avenue for people who want to get into sports, or maybe it's the girlfriend that wants to get more into her boyfriend's life, or something like that, and wants to learn more about sports. So that's kind of one reason, as well as kind of there's a lot of funny things that happen in sports. When the Super Bowl is over, I'm kind of deep diving into baseball, and with baseball, kind of I say is probably the third most popular sport in America behind basketball and football. And you just hear there's a lot of crazy stories within baseball and baseball players that nobody really talks about. Like, I mean, Alex Rodriguez, for example, he's got a bunch of weird stuff. Mickey Mantle, just to name a few. So really excited about that.
Sure. Yeah, bring the spotlight. Just keep making content, man. There's always somebody out there that enjoys listening and learning about stuff. So just keep doing. And yeah, let's get the Yankees a World Series this season. I'm sick.
Absolutely. Yeah. The chase for 28. We got a captain. We got another pitcher. So let's get it.
Let's do it, man. Appreciate you. This was fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll do episode 2 and when it's time. We'll do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Hey, thanks, Carson.
Yes, sir.
Well, everyone, that was today's show. I hope you enjoyed the interview with Carson. He's a great guy. I think URUP2U is a great brand, and kind of talking to him when I went down and saw my sister in Arizona. We kind of met and as two families, and just kind of talked and chatted, and just asked him a bunch of questions about URUP2U and kind of what made him eventually decide to kind of get stuff started and going. And I wanted to kind of do a podcast or kind of a sports cast of some sort, and just him kind of being able to do it, and kind of us coming from a little bit of the same background and same place. It was kind of uplifting to know that, yeah, I am up to me and I'm going to do it, and if he can do it, so can I. And so that was my big thing. Kind of wrapping up our show, we always talk about what I'm watching this week, and then wrap everything up with a crazy story. So kind of make this quick. Another episode of The Last of Us. It's a solid show. My episode 3 was great. I think it's we're starting to climb up that mountain here, and we're getting things going. And episode 4 I think is going to be really wild. We got introduced to raiders, so we have raiders as well as zombies in that show to worry about with our main characters. Keep in mind, I have never played the game. I'm an Xbox guy, so never really got an opportunity to play the game. Um, so yeah, we have that, and then I'm watching Cheers. It's just a solid feel good show that everybody I think should watch. So watching Cheers. So it is now crazy funny story time. Close out the show with kind of a feel good, kind of funny story to get the giggles to get going. So this was I lived in a house with 3 guys in college. Um, for privacy reasons, I am changing their names. So their names are Ned, Joaquin, and Jamie. Those are their names. To those of you that watch the show and know who my roommates are, and you're wondering who is whom, I'm never going to tell you. But anyway, Ned, Joaquin, and Jamie. We all lived together. We were all great friends, good roommates. They all ended up kind of finding some girlfriends, and we all kind of met together and decided, if the girlfriends are going to kind of start living there, which they were, they have to start paying rent, which because it wasn't fair to me who didn't have a girlfriend. There's 3 girls pretty much freeloading at the same house while we're all paying rent, and it's not really fair to them either because they're staying there for free, kind of doing everything for free. And the girlfriends were willing to pitch in, and they did when they were there for the majority of the time. But a lot of things kind of happened throughout, and Jamie's girlfriend and him really were kind of nearing the end of their relationship, and everybody makes mistakes, and Jamie ended up making a kind of a silly one and ended up cheating on her. She had came back. I think I was away, so I don't really know what happened while things were going on at the house. They had people over. He was kind of doing the no pants dance with this girl that we had known since we were freshmen in college. She had come back. He hid this girl a couple times to make sure that she wasn't around, but his girlfriend ended up finding out a couple days later, and Jamie and I and Joaquin and Ned were all coming back from doing what we were doing on campus, and Ned went up to shower while we were waiting for Jamie, and Jamie, Joaquin, and I were sitting down on the in the living room, and we had found out that Jamie's girlfriend had found out, and she was coming over and wasn't happy, and I was the only one that could see the door to where everybody would come in. We only let people come in the back door. The front door was just right in the middle of the main road where we lived in Madison, where I went to school. So it just wasn't really a viable place for people to walk in. So in the back, it was just super easy, and there was only one spot in our living room where you could see, and that's just so happened where I was sitting. So every so often I would be like, "Oh, she's here," and he would kind of tense up and get ready, but I was kind of joking, and up to the point where she was actually there, that was kind of his time where he's like, dude, shut up. No, she's not here. And she actually was. So the sequence of events is probably the strangest kind of 10 minutes that happened in kind of a gotcha moment. She walked in the door. One of our roommates had a dog. She went and said hi to the dog and like super nice, like, hi Ollie, like nice to see you. Aw, you're so cute. And then like walked into the living room and just started chewing Jamie out. Like, first of all, F you. Second of all, F you. Third of all, I don't care what you do with your life. And she was just kind of waiting for an answer, and Jamie was trying so hard not to laugh just because of just her switch up in emotion and like what's going on. And not to mention uh Joaquin and I were trying hard not to laugh. Like I was like this, just trying super hard not to laugh. Ned was up taking a shower. Anyway, she got so mad. She turned to Joaquin, was chewing him out because he was laughing, and he ended up. He's like, "Why are you yelling at me? I didn't do anything to you." And she ended up just storming out. Ned's girlfriend followed her, and I went upstairs to go talk to Ned and just kind of give him the lowdown on what happened. Well, while I was telling him what happened and giving him the lowdown, while he was in the shower, our bathroom window was open, and Ned and the girl, or Ned's girlfriend and Jamie's now ex-girlfriend, were talking outside, and she they kind of yelled up at the window, we can hear you. So I had to close the window. Awkward for me, but just kind of a weird thing. She would when you're a little kid and you would slide, if you had stairs in your house, you'd slide down on your butt on the stairs. She was like a 20, 21, 22-year old adult doing that, and she did it every single day. And every day I would ask her while I was sitting down watching TV, like, why do you do that? And she's like, oh, it's just fun. I was like, yeah, it's fun when you're 9 years old, maybe even younger, but we're adults. It's kind of weird that you're doing that. And she had like a super nice like $700, $800, $900 camera that she would walk around while we were having people over and like throwing parties, and just she would take like 4 pictures and like just set the camera down, like, and I'm not going to be watching it. Nobody else is going to be watching your camera because you technically don't live here. You're not on the lease, and I'm not in charge of your camera. I'm in charge of the people that are in the house as well as my stuff. Like, I have my own stuff to take care of. I've had stuff taken from me that I don't want taken. So, it's just kind of a weird scenario. I know Ned was really upset because she had a super nice waffle maker that, was never used, but he was super upset that we lost a waffle maker that was never used. And she also had a Keurig that was there that none of us drank coffee, but we were upset it was gone. So yeah, that's our show. That's episode 4. Um, please give Carson a look on all social media. It'll be linked down below. Also, URUP2U. Comfiest clothes I've ever worn. Give it a look. See what he has available. He's got new drops coming. Every 3 to 6 months. So please give him a look and rep some of his gear. This has been the We Know Ball Show, and this is Cameron signing off. Cheers, friends.